Hello everyone. Veliki pozdrav svima. Dobro veče, kako ste? How is everybody doing? Thank you for joining this live. I'm very excited about it today. But before we start, I would like to wish everyone a happy Earth Day. I don't know if you guys knew, but today is an Earth Day, very special day. Our Mother Earth is very grateful to all of us for staying at home, even though a lot of people are obviously struggling, and it's not easy times, for over half of planet's population is in quarantine. And on a positive side, we have allowed our Mother Earth, our Gaia, to heal itself. So today especially we honor Gaia, we honor our Mother Earth. And I'm truly honored to be alive today, and there are a lot of things that we need to reflect on when it comes to, Earth, when it comes to nature and how we treat each other, how we go about our lives. What do we do on a daily basis that affects our health, our wellness, well-being of our surrounding, of our closest ones, of a whole ecosystem. So this is a subject that we're going to talk about a lot today with a very special person that is going to join us very soon. But firstly, I wanted to just share something with you guys. I've been very passionate about nature, natural world, the original, so to say, medicine that our ancient civilizations have left for us, the ancient natural medicine and way of life and seeing things that are very organic. So I've been learning a lot in the last couple of years, and I've been trying to surround myself with people that are very passionate as well about being the healthiest versions of themselves in their private and professional life. The people that are conscious, that are aware of their role in this life and in this world. And I've always wanted to put myself in a role of an interviewer and bring forward to you guys some of the acquaintances and some of the dear friendships that I've made over the years with some of the most impressive people that I've ever met in the field of health and wellness and well-being. And I would like to kind of soft launch today that I'm going to do a mini series of or episodes of interviews with the network of people that I have, and hopefully you guys will like that, because I feel like today, with everything that is happening in the occurring coronavirus situation, a lot of people are afraid, and they're also unsure what is the proper way to stay healthy and to protect themselves, to build the immune system, to build the best possible defense mechanism, so you can reduce as much as you possibly can the chances of getting infected with the coronavirus or any virus for that matter. So I would like to ask you guys if you don't mind sharing with me today, how would you like for me to conceptualize this? Because I still have not made a decision whether I want to have these interviews on Instagram Live, or whether I should open an independent YouTube channel or something else. So if you do have any propositions or suggestions on how I should move forward with that, please let me know. And also please let me know whether you would like me to do something like this, because obviously this is my passion, and I feel like I feel very excited about it, because I always learn in when I talk to these people that have been very close to me and my family in the last decade or so, and I feel like there's some very valuable and very useful information and knowledge and science that they are able to share with you, so that you can enrich your own life, and that and you can have also clarity in terms of what you can do for yourself when it comes to health and building immune system, and living with no fear, and being completely free and happy, and being in abundance of positive emotions. So without any further ado, I would like to now invite my dear friend, my brother from another mother, Shervin, who is the founder of Symbiotica, one of the best wellness supplement brands in the world at the moment. In my opinion, the best. I've been using their products for several years now, ever since the day one. I've had the privilege to know Shervin personally for many years through some mutual friends. And he is one of the most impressive people that I've ever met. Very intelligent, but I think most of all, a very kind, very genuine person, very wonderful soul, someone that is trying every single day to contribute in a positive way to the overall consciousness and raising of the vibration of people of this planet, with his knowledge, with his constant search for better answers, for better ways for all of us to be just happier in our avatar, to be healthier. And I would like to invite him in to do a live with him today. I'm just going to see whether he is around. He should be. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for all your messages. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. Thank you for complimenting my new haircut. That's actually my wife's Yelena's work. So she definitely has a career. She's pretty good. I'm a lucky guy. I'm a very, very lucky guy. So I'm looking for Shervin. Shervin, if you're out there, please send a message so I can request you to join the live, and we can kickstart this great live with some amazing things to talk about. I'm very, very excited, guys, because Shervin is one of the dearest people I have in my life. There he is, but also someone that health. You will love him, and he is also great looking. There he is. There he is.
There he is.
Brother. Aho.
Aho, brother.
Aho.
Aho, my brother. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, brother. Nice.
Am I coming in good? Is the quality good?
Yes.
On these devices?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Amazing. Okay.
I want to say thank you for joining us today. This is the first time that we're doing live, even though we've known each other for several years now. We recently started collaborating as well on sports nutrition. We are also creating some magic with formulation of hopefully the best sports hydration drink in the future. We're doing a lot of great things together, and I've been honored and very lucky to know you and to learn from you over the years. And it's just great to have you here, brother. Great, thank you so much.
It's an honor, brother. It's been a very synchronistic journey between you and I. I was watching you play tennis. I mean, for the last 12, 13 years with my father. This is, started watching you in my early 20s. And out of all the players I aligned with you probably the most for multiple reasons. And it's, you know, what you feel, what your heart is, and a big hawk just flew over the window right now. So I had to share that. And
My favorite bird.
the favorite bird. And so it's an honor. And I have the deepest level of reverence for you, for your family, for your wife, for your beautiful kids, for your entire tribe, who I consider my family too. My family as well, my tribe, we're all in this together. And I think that's the center point of this message today, is that it's easy to feel disconnected from the world. It's easy to feel isolated because we've been given, you know, some things in this life that are traumatic, or a lot of experiences of pain, whether that comes from, you know, our family or from friends or from whatever. But to feel connection and unity and see your soul's recognition, it is one of the most important vibratory informations that we can have inside of us. And that connection is stronger than any medicine or any nutritional product. It's that inner gnosis of knowing that you are loved, you are cared for, and you are honored and respected and revered by your peers. And the act of loving something and nurturing something, whether it's a plant you're growing or a fruit tree or a little puppy or a baby, that energy, that cyclical vibratory energy of care, is the most healing medicine for all of our entire biological system. And so when you combine that with the inner gnosis of how our body works, with how our universe works, with how the sun and moon work, and how they operate all things in nature, including us, because sometimes we feel like we're distracted or separated from nature. We've certainly lost that over the last several hundred years. That inner gnosis creates a harmony and balance in your life, because we all know where we belong. We know where we come from. It's intrinsically within us, because we're just representing our ancestors today. And so I appreciate your approach. I appreciate the words that you initially said on the live. Today is Earth Day. You and I consciously weren't aware of that when we decided to do it today. And it just so happens that it falls out of 365 days on the Gregorian calendar. It just so happens that we choose it to be today. And I don't think anything is random. I think everything in this universe is calculated, and numerology and gematria prove that. And so if we follow the clues of the universe and follow our hearts and connect to the spirit and love and be in a place of love and harmony, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. There's nothing we can't go into to fully ascertain and learn. So it's an honor, and I'm very excited to be being able to really start this process with you of giving people a different perspective, a perspective that's been somewhat hidden from them to a certain degree. And there's so many beautiful things about the age we live in, the technology age. I mean, look what's happening. You're in one side of the world, I'm in another side of the world. You and I can be having a beautiful conversation, and hundreds of thousands, millions of people can listen to that. What an amazing, amazing time we are in. And so instead of looking at the negatives of everything, we can look at the positive of everything and see how powerful and what an honor it is. And so I wake up every day with that reverence in my heart and that honor. So thank you so much, brother. I'm very excited about this journey that we're about to embark on.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you. Thank you for your great words. And just for everybody joining in right now, this is my dear friend and brother, Shervin, someone that has been a dear friend for so many years, someone that I also collaborate with since recently on the sports nutrition. And I'm very, very excited. Happy Earth Day to you, brother, as well, to everyone watching as well. There's so much to talk about. I mean, and the field of life that is health is so broad and so large and so complex that it's really hard to go down and break it all down in one live. Of course, I'm looking forward. Hopefully, we can do more in the future. But I think something that it really, I think where we can start is something that is related to this coronavirus situation, right? Where there's just a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of fear. People are in a way also panicking, which I understand, and it's not easy, obviously, if you're following, you know, news and you're seeing the numbers that are growing in infected people and the deaths around the world. Everybody's in lockdown. For example, Spain here, where I am with my family, it's been now over 7 weeks of complete 24/7 lockdown. It's not easy. It's not easy, definitely, to deal with all these things. And of course, on a brighter side, we have a time to reflect on ourselves, spend quality time with our family. Just think about how we want to move forward in life. Think about the next step, professionally, privately. You know, think about what this quarantine actually does for our Mother Earth, for nature. It actually helps her heal. So I wanted to ask you, what would you say is the best way to for someone that is just, you know, working in a regular job, just has, you know, has family, and he stopped receiving his income. He cannot be active. It's really difficult. He can't go out from his apartment for weeks, for months. What do you tell to him or her? How can he, you know, be stress-free? What can he really do on a daily basis to be healthy in terms of nutrition, you know, mental part, spiritual part, emotional part? What do you say to him?
Well, you know, there's different, you know, variants in terms of what people are going through. So there are extremes like that where people can't even leave their apartment, versus, you know, other areas where they can't go to work. You know, where I live, it seems like everybody's flocking outside and walking up the hills and walking in the street and getting under the sunshine and putting their feet on the grass and really actually putting a pause on the hamster wheel of life.
Yeah.
And that's where we find the beauty in this problem, right? Because whatever we resist in life, we persist. And so if you create tension and you create fear and you create pain, your body's automatically going to relay that information as damaging. So your immune system will suffer because you're under the state of fear. And there's a very nice book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And I parallel this to perfection with this, because humans are the only species that live in perpetual fear. All the other animals in the kingdom, for example, when a zebra is minding his own business and eating grass and laughing with his friends, and in a split second, a lion comes chasing at 30 miles an hour, the zebra has to go from 0 to 60 in half a second. So the autonomic nervous system of the zebra switches from parasympathetic to sympathetic, which is fight or flight, and immediately exits the situation. 9 times out of 10, the lion doesn't catch the zebra. And as soon as that chase is done, within 5 minutes, the zebra is back at base level across the board on all of the biological function and is sitting there dancing and smile again and eating the grass. Okay. Now, what's my analogy here? Well, humans, we don't do that. Instead, we are constantly sitting in that fear. We're putting our body and subjecting our body, not, you know, we know stress is a killer. We hear that as a cliche all the time, but let's talk about the actual pharmacology of stress in terms of chemical production and hormones and things like that. If you live in fear, and fear can be coming because of lack of knowledge and lack of awareness, then you're putting yourself in a position where you don't have a choice but to be living in fear. And that is at the core of our entire immune system. I don't care what water you're drinking. I don't care what food you're eating. I don't care any of that. If you're in fear-based situation, your body will not comprehend and will not give you the tools to balance your entire system. Meaning you're not going to digest food properly, meaning you're not going to sleep properly, right? We know sleep is the ultimate. All of these things are damaging and crippling our entire system. So for someone who's right now, listening to this and they might be stuck in their apartments, with family and things like that, the number one thing you can do is accept the situation. Okay? Accept it. And this is part of your dharma work. This is part of your mission work in this life. You were born to take on these experiences. This is a tough situation for some people. But if you're not easily flexible in your mind and in your heart, you're going to break. That's why there's a lot of people that are getting ran over. But a lot of people are also looking at this as an opportunity to up-level their meditation practice, to up-level their ability to be able to take on stressful situations. And you're a perfect person to represent this because you're a world-class tennis player. You're the number one tennis player in the world. You're in stressful situations. Believe it or not, when you're going one-on-one with someone at the finals of Wimbledon and the whole world is watching, as a fan, we seem to forget what that is like. But imagine you are under that perpetual stress, would you be able to make those calculated serves, those calculated returns? No. Why is that? Because your body wouldn't even allow it. But because you have discipline in your tennis career, you have practice in your meditation, and you've developed the faculties to be the top tennis player in the world, you're able to go under those high pressure situations so beautifully and handle it with such ease and grace. Well, let me tell you, everybody that's listening, the same thing is being asked for us today in this environment we are in right now when it comes to this virus that we're dealing with. We can't go into a stressful situation. So I would say ultimately, maybe try turning off the TV a little bit. Let's not watch the evening news. Let's focus more on the family. Let's focus more on our breath work. Let's focus more on writing things down and getting more connected to ourselves. When you hear about people going on missions to, Peru or sacred places in the world, what is it that they're doing? They're not going there just to sightsee. They're going there to get connected to themselves, to get away from the noise that's outside of them. Have you heard of a Vipassana journey? Vipassana is where you go and do a 5-day, 10-day, 21-day meditation in complete, utter silence.
Yes.
What's the point of that? The point of that is so the energies that are controlling our programs from within are completely deleted and made void. Absolutely. So we're in control of our governance and our system. And just on a health level, the importance of that is astronomically the most important thing ever. Tie that in with all the alchemy that we talk about, which is drinking clean, structured spring water, using the right salts, understanding what true alkalinization is of the body. It's not drinking alkaline water. It's so much deeper. Learning that detoxification is more important than nutrition. I've been going back and forth with my cousin David Wolf for that for the last 25 years. Understanding how the soil works, how the soil is a direct representation of our microbiome in our gut. All of these things, they all tie hand in hand together. And what we can do is we can weave it all together. What I'm thinking is create like a diagram, so everyone can see all of these factors and how ultimately they're all related together. And exercise, movement. If you, God forbid, if you can't get out of your apartment because of a quarantine, okay, well, I hope you have 5 by 5 feet, because that's the width and area that you need to do push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, all of those things, core plank workout. keep the body going. Where the energy is flowing is exactly how you're going to be able to move through this properly. Stagnation is the most dangerous thing we can do as a species, not only in our bodies, but in our mind. You take a pond, for example. If there's a pond and doesn't have running water and there's no airflow, that pond within 2 days becomes stagnated with algae growth and bacteria and fungus and all different things that are not, basically ruins the oxygen supply. The same thing happens to the human body. We got to be moving. We got to get active, and we got to stay in our heart and stay away from the fear. It's the fear that's caused by lack of knowledge and awareness. And then I also say, what a time to really get to know your body. And that's what Symbiotica is all about. You and I talk about this all the time. Are we making the best nutraceutical nutrient products in the world and truth by transparency? Absolutely. Are these products the best products coming from the best places on earth? Absolutely. But the most important thing is that people understand and understand why. Because we know it's beyond the placebo effect. If you know why certain B vitamins can help your metabolism, help detoxify your cell, help cause cellular methylation, if you know that, then you intrinsically will allow it to work and function so much better. And we've lost our way, brother, as a society. Yes. Generally speaking, we've lost our way. We've lost our relationship to our body. We forgot what our bodies are here to do. And when you're in fear, what do? When you're in fear and pain, you try to block it. And how do you block it? You turn to alcohol, you turn to drugs, you turn to bad TV. All distractions. It's our body's safety mechanism is to distract it and numb it out.
So basically what you're talking about is a holistic approach to life, right?
Across the board.
If you change, which means basically if you change one part of your life, it affects the whole system. It affects everything because our entire body is working as a one whole harmonic system that is perfectly managing all its metabolic functions. If we create the conditions, I feel like we as humans only need to really help our body be in a homeostasis and work in its optimal state rather than working against it. And I think myself included, of course, I'm still learning, and thank you for sharing all of that. And I feel like we all have to learn in our entire lives, regardless of, what degree we have, what university we have, whatever. I feel like we are all great learners of life, of ourselves. I feel like one of the most undervalued, I would say, challenges for us is learning about self, learning about how our mind works, our emotions, our body. What about synchronicity between those three? What about spirit? What is going on? Why are we here? Who are we? What's going to happen when we are not in this body anymore? So all of these questions are fundamental questions that I think maybe we don't spend enough time, I think, reflecting on them. I personally like to think about that, and I feel having an open mind in life, not just about that, but about anything really, is a key. Because you talked about rigidity, being rigid. If you're rigid in your mind, in your approach, in your body, whatever it is, you're going to break. I mean, sooner or later, somewhere is going to hit you. You're going to unfortunately suffer some consequences, whether it's your relationship, whether it's health, whatever it is. And someone wise said that all the illnesses that are manifested in a physical way are starting in your most subtle part of your spiritual self or your energy self, right? We are energies as much as we are chemical compositions, right? So you spoke about fear, and I think this is a key, because from everything that you said, I think the epicenter of it all is whether you are in fear or not. So if you are afraid of, you know, losing your job, whether you're afraid of not being healthy enough, whether you're afraid of not being pretty enough for your partner, whether you're not enough, you know, good enough parent, whatever, we all have some fears here or there, and we all have to address those programs that we carry on for all of our lives, right?
We have to.
Yes. And how, so this is my question to you. How do you concretely, like, transform yourself from being in that state of fear of defense into taking the control or taking the matter in your hands and liberating yourself in a way from that? And another question to that one is, if you do that, and when you do that, are you then liberated for good, or you have to keep on going on a daily basis?
Well, you know the old saying, I mean, this is ancient. You chop wood, you carry water, you discover enlightenment. Then what do? You chop wood and you carry water again. This life is a constant evolution. We never reach a certain thing and then you give up. For me, for example, I'm a student for life. I will always be a student. I am always present and aware of any experience that I have that I can learn, whether I'm with a grand master shaman in Peru or I'm in the traffic light and somebody cuts me off and yells at me. These are all moments for us to be able to learn. That's all medicine. So we have to have that kind of inner experience and awareness that every moment of this waking life is an opportunity to grow. The moment you think you've reached a certain level and you stop, forget about it. You basically, you cause so much, you haven't allowed your body to evolve. You haven't allowed your mind to evolve. And that's where you get a lot of the ego complex. And so I'm always going to be a student. And I think what you were talking about prior is that from time of Christ up until 1400, that's the medieval time. And then from 1400 to 1900 was the postmodern time. And during that postmodern time period of this reality that we're in, whatever this is, that's when you had people starting to feel individuality, right? Before that, it was a totalitarian rule or an authoritative rule where there was control. Now people want to be an individual. They want to find their soul's purpose. That's when we started to see languages expand. We started to see the sciences starting to come. All of the philosophy started to come around that time. And, today where we find ourselves, it seems like in the last 150 years, since about 1875, latter part of the 18th century going into the 19th century, we've entered the age of materialism. And the age of materialism has removed us from the beauty of all that's around us. And we have to be aware of this.
Yes.
The Industrial Revolution, the agriculture system. Let me give you an example. 100 years ago in America, 95% of the population had a direct relationship with the food that they ate. What does that mean? That means either they grew the food or their neighbor grew the food. Today in America, less than 1% has a connection to the food that they ate. So in 100 years, we've completely swapped the entire, basically, connection we have with our food. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean that, now we know why our food is so demineralized and so devoid of nutrients. But not only that, what does that mean? That means that humans don't have our love into the earth.
Yeah.
That's the primary connection, because we have already appointed ourselves as the dominant species of this world. At least that's what the mainstream has done. So by doing such, if we're the dominant species, shouldn't we be the stewards of this land? And I'm using this as an example for somebody that is looking to break free from some of the shackles that are stored from within, some of the trauma that they experienced. Now, we come into this world, we should be, be born in an environment that's designed to, basically cultivate our experience. That's why I'm a big fan and a follower of Dr. Rudolf Steiner and Waldorf education in biodynamic farming. And so in order for us to deprogram the trauma that's in our life, we have to understand where we lost it and how we lost it. That's called reverse engineering.
Yes.
So anyone who's listening to me right now, in order to solve the issue, we have to understand where the issue started. That's the only way. We can't mask it. We can't forget about it. It's incredible. Can you imagine buying a fancy new car and driving it from the dealership, and all of a sudden the check engine light comes on? What are you going to do? You're going to put duct tape over the light? No, you're going to take it back to the dealership to fix it, right? But we're not doing that with our soul. We're not doing that with our health, the most precious commodity. So we gotta reverse engineer that. And so my teachings and my understandings starts with epigenetics. And to be clear, where I stand today in this reality is I'm right in the center point of the spiritual and the science. And that's creating a balance and a harmony right in the middle. So it's a spiritual science. So we don't have to be completely right brain scientific, left brain scientific, and we don't have to be right brain spiritualist. It can have a balance and harmony. And we don't have to fight among the communities. Oh, this and that. That's just causing distortion in the field. We got to find that center point of balance. And as children, as kids, we know now that the brain is in a brainwave pattern called theta, which is around 6 to 10 hertz. So children from age 3 months, 7 months in the womb, so third trimester, all the way up to 7 years old, their brain is in that brain pattern, theta. What is theta, brother? Theta is imagination, pure imagination.
And connection.
And connection. And believing in an intelligence higher. That's why when you can look at children, you can see their eyes.
They're such
gaze.
an incredible masters and teachers to all of us. I mean, I'm blessed to be a father of two angels, and they're 5 and 2 years old. And my life has completely transformed for both my wife and I since we became parents, and we cannot recognize ourselves from before becoming parents and after. Right. And then we didn't really understand or understand what it truly means and what has happened. But that is the effect. That is the love that you get that transforms you completely. That you never knew that there is a part of you, that dimension of love that is inside, that is just unlocked. And I think from children, I feel like we can learn so much. One of the most one of the strongest lessons that I feel I learn from them on a daily basis is, number one, how to be present. They're completely present. We live in the world where we have millions of information going through our phones, our computers, TV, of course, there are also great sources of information like books and everything, but we're just constantly bombarded. And being in this field, you forget how to be present and how to really fully be aligned and in tune with what you're doing at the moment. And they're complete masters at that. And another, I think, great lesson that we learn is how to forgive. We tend to, as adults, carry some baggage with us for all our lives. That someone has done something to us and someone has said something to us, and that's like a program, and it's a victim mode that we are in, and because of that, it creates emotional blockages, as you know, that just don't allow us to prosper in certain areas of our life, and we're not even aware of the connection, right? So the way the kids go about life is, brother slapped the sister, she's crying it out, right? She's screaming for 5 minutes. next thing you know, they're playing and they're laughing and they have forgotten about what has happened.
And you're supposed to let them sort it out. That's the
Yeah.
Waldorf education.
Exactly.
You're not supposed to micromanage the children. You're not supposed to put them into a program. You're not supposed to give them heavy curriculum at that age. Waldorf education is designing an incubator around the kids so they can have their own experiences. And it's through those experiences at that age that they develop something called empathy. Empathy is designed and cultivated on a spiritual and chemical creation point by having experiences and making your own decisions as a child versus being told what to do. And I've seen it because I have family, I have friends. I can tell the difference between kids that were in a family household that was very strict, that the parents were so hard on the children, were, shaming the kids for dropping something or breaking something or getting into a fight, versus another family where they let them sort it out. They let them start to develop the inner faculties of being human. It's a completely, and so think about it right now. We have adults running around this world, generations for the last, 100 years, that are still not cultivated adults. They're still in the child trauma. They're still in that program because they've never healed it. This is the center point of what I talk about and what I believe in. Other stuff.
Sorry to interrupt you, brother, but how do you reprogram yourself? So that's, this subject is extremely interesting to me because as an athlete, obvious individual athlete in particular, you have no one really to rely on the tennis court. You're by yourself. It's it's win or lose. That's it. You cannot get substituted. It's all up to you, right? So, I've been always very attracted to all the practices, mental practices and emotional practices that enhance your ability to deal with the stress factors that are occurring during competition, right? For tennis players, especially on the highest level, there's a lot of elements and a lot of factors in play that create a huge amount of stress. Where with surface change, climate change, location, you have to travel from one day to another completely, like playing from indoors to outdoors. You have tens of thousands of people on the stands and people watching, and then of course, regardless of the fact that I've been in this situation millions of times and that I have the experience, which of course obviously helps me to, whenever I meet this certain situation next time, I'm able to overcome it and in an easier way than I have done in a previous way. But I feel, and I've been saying this a lot, that tennis court for me is this battlefield, this arena where all these programs, these traumas that you talked about surface, and more than anywhere else in my entire life. So on the tennis court, I get triggered with millions of things. And then I understand that there's so much work that needs to be done for me to actually get to the whatever I'm headed to, the kind of most ideal version of myself as a human being and as a competitor. But that also excites me and that motivates me because I see tennis as a fantastic terrain or platform for me to learn, improve, and I consider myself a student of the game and student of life on the tennis court. So this topic of reprogramming, rewiring your mind is fascinating to me. What would you point out that are some of the most important things for you in terms of what you can do for yourself? Maybe books or some things that you can read for yourself, the techniques that you can do, whether it's breathing, whether it's neuro-linguistic programming, whatever it is. What are the things that you would point out are most important that were useful for people that are kind of battling these kind of programs that have been carrying for all their lives?
Okay, so first and foremost, let's take away the word magic. We're not battling anything. we are stepping into a new consciousness of being able to switch the light on and shine the light on the truth of what we're dealing with. And it's not a battle, it's not a war, we're not fighting for peace. We're just starting to learn how our bodies work. And it's interesting because we've talked about this before offline, but I like what you said. The reason why when you're in the tournament or you're playing under, the lights, that those things come up is because when you're walking around in everyday life, you're pretty much in a stable consciousness. You're comfortable, you're relaxed, you're thinking about what you're going to eat, where the kids are, what fruit you're going to pick, you're stretching, all that stuff. But because you got into that high stress situation, you got closer and closer to micro amounts of trauma and baggage that are in your body, right?
Yes.
And that's why deep meditation and going into areas deep into jungles, that's why you get to those areas. So when I go into the jungles of Peru, or I go and do, those types of retreats, it's similar with you when you're on those bright lights. It's a similar concept. We're taking things to a level where we're getting closer and closer to that thin line. Okay. Mm-hmm. So for me, and what the facts are, is number one, we got to stop giving our power away and thinking we don't have control in this life. So again, let's remove that. That's a complete illusion. If you feel like you don't know your body and you're not connected to your temple, you're already in trouble. So we got to remove that. But how do we do that, Novak? Well, what we do is we learn how the body works. Let's start with that. Okay, yeah. So before we start going into deep philosophy and going down the rituals of philosophy, Carl Jung, Rudolf Steiner, all of these amazing concepts, Plato, I can go through the whole thing, Edgar Cayce, all that kind of stuff. Why don't we talk about how does the human body detoxify itself? What kind of water does the human body need? Why does the human body need to wake up on the rise of the sun? How come the human body is designed to go to sleep when the sun goes down? How does melatonin production work? How do we detoxify our body? Do we have parasites in our body? Is our body exposed to heavy metals and toxicity? Now, all of these things shouldn't be something that scares you, but it's to give you control back of your vessel. That is the most important thing based on my experience and my tribe experience, which is a group of researchers, doctors, philosophers, philanthropists, movers, shakers, all those people. We understand we're in a spiritual world, but we're also in a material world. And this body that we have right here, this flesh and bone right here, needs to be treated with love and respect. And the fact that people out there are putting their bodies through so much trauma is a testament to how much our bodies love us and what our bodies can go through. So I think at the center point of that, in order to be able to go and start removing trauma, we need to get hold of the physical body. Once we start making steps to get closer, then we see something called inertia happening. Inertia is the movement that things will keep going if it's oscillating at the same speed. We call that momentum. So this is a really important part. This is it. This is the nuts and bolts of it. Everyone wants to get from point A to point Z. They want to take the elevator and just shoot right there. They don't want to do the work. But it's the work and the ritual and the discipline that allows you to gain your life back. And it's the most satisfying and rewarding part of all of it, is the actual dedication through your mind, knowledge, practice. This is mind, body, and soul, enlightened being. This is when you breed excellence in your world. You know it because you're a world-class athlete. You would not be where you are today if you didn't spend hours, days, months, years practicing your craft. Well, it's the same thing because you've been practicing your craft on your physical body and your spiritual body. It's not just you hitting a tennis racket and hitting a ball every single day. Do you know how many complexes of your entire system is centered around your entire reality of how you approach your life and your nutrition and your wellness and your meditation and all of these beautiful things? So this is the center point, and we need to start having wins every day. What does that mean? That means I'm going to go to yoga tonight. And then tomorrow, I'm going to try this new spring water. And then why don't I stop doing these things? So get real. Look in the mirror. Everybody after this call should stare at themselves in the mirror for as long as they can and try to lie to your own eyes, because everybody knows inside whether what they're doing. Are they creating trauma in other people's life? Look at the people around them. Who's influencing them? Who are they looking on social media? You said it earlier, it was perfect. We're not designed to be looking at 1,000 different realities at once. The human body intrinsically is supposed to be experiencing what is in their peripheral vision with their optics.
Yes.
This is the miracle of life. Now, all of a sudden, we're looking at 2,000 different lives, and we're comparing our lives with their lives and their lives, and all of a sudden, cortisol is pumping in our body, stress hormones. We feel inadequate. We feel poverty conscious. We feel we're in scarcity, and we feel lack. So
Yes.
at the center of all this, brother, we got to remove all that toxic energy, and we got to start grounding into the reality of what we can do, and it's about momentum.
Beautifully said, brother. And I just to add to that, when you focus on your own practice, and when you understand that your health and your life and your emotions and your thoughts are in your control, you're able to decrease or reduce or completely even eliminate the fear.
Eliminate.
And by doing that, you are becoming independent. And that's what brings you more confidence, more grounding in these particular times when you're facing an unpredictable circumstances with virus and quarantine and what's going to happen in my life, what's going to happen with my work. You know, you're accepting everything because you feel comfortable in your own skin. And I feel I completely resonate with that, brother. And I feel that you know, we need to observe ourselves you know, from various different perspectives, not just as a physical material body and flesh that you said, but, you know, spiritual, emotional. We are, you know, we are all of that, and we are synchronized and we are harmonized with the Schumann resonance of 7.83. We are you know, the physics, the science, everything proves it.
We're electrical.
We are electrical beings.
We're complete
absolutely
electrical beings.
Yes.
Our entire system is electrical, and it's completely governed by our realm of existence. That the Earth is shooting off an electrical field.
Yes.
Now, what percent of the population is religious? 90% has a religion. So if you have a religion, that means that you have a spirit, right? Why aren't we applying that? Why aren't we looking at this life like we are a spirit? Why aren't we cultivating that? And that, my friend, is what sovereignty means. It's becoming sovereign. So what you just said is becoming real sovereign. What does sovereign mean? That means an outside energy does not hold dominion on your life. It means when you wake up, your whole lens is based on your thoughts, not somebody else's.
And what, you know, one of the people that I admire a lot in my life, and I feel that even though I have not lived in his era, that has left a huge legacy for all of us. And his name is Nikola Tesla, obviously. For a lot of people watching, they probably know who he is.
Yeah.
And he's one of the biggest reasons why we are able to have this live and wireless. Everything wireless is his creation. It started with his inventions. And one of his quotes, actually, that stick with me is that one must be sane to think clearly.
Yeah.
But one can think deeply and be quite insane. And he understood the importance of having a sane mind, of being quiet, of being calm, of importance of going back to yourself, you know, striving to be serene and to be in perfect harmony. And this vibration that will allow you to create. For him, it was important because then he could conceptualize, you know, all his devices, all his inventions, the ideas keep on coming. He was connected to the field. And, and because of our distractions, and because we constantly are looking for ways to distract ourselves, you mentioned that at the beginning of the live, whether it's food, whether it's drinks, whether it's cigarettes, whatever it
Any
is,
addiction,
whether it's any addiction for that matter, television shows, whatever it is, you know, we are just, I think we're prolonging the inevitable. Sorry, yeah. We're back. So what is inevitable is that we have to face our biggest quest in this life, which is, you know, growing the consciousness and growing our vibration and getting to know each other, ourselves, and being the best possible version of ourselves in this life. And I completely resonate with that. So I feel that is the center point of how can you really, you know, be in that vibration. How can you live the life that will allow you to be abundant in all these wonderful things?
Everything you said, I resonate to every syllable to perfection. That was spectacular. So this was our first live. There's only so much information. I think it's going to end in a few minutes.
Yeah, in a few, like we have like 4 minutes. Yeah.
So literally we can go down every single line item when it comes to nutrition, fasting, hydration, dehydration, detoxification, connection to the earth, and really bring all of those things into a whole format. I think that's what we should do.
How about this? We get together once a week and we pick one thing.
We pick one topic and let them know a week in advance.
Into it. Exactly.
Let them know a week in advance.
Yeah.
And we'll put it up there. We'll put clues and information, and then we'll hit it hard.
Yes.
And we'll break it absolutely down. And what we're doing is we're giving the viewer an opportunity to do their own homework. And I want to say this real clear. I don't know everything. And I also know I don't know anything. Don't take what I'm saying and what Novak is saying as an indoctrinated truth. This is our perspective.
Yes.
You need to sit with it and decide on yourself if you resonate with it. If it resonates for you and this feels right, then look some more, because we're only the messenger. We are not the answer. I want to be clear with that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, brother, for this. And by the way, one live we have to dedicate to our ancient history and connection between Persia and Serbia, brother. Persia and Serbian brother.
For my father, for my ancestors, it would be the most powerful experience of my entire life. And I'm so honored. And I know that there's so many people from Iran that are going to be watching this, and all of our Persian brothers across the world, Persian brothers and sisters, and the Serbian union between our bloodlines is so pure. Let me just say this. This is not by chance. Everything happens for a reason. And if you're listening right now, I want you to really write that down. Nothing is chance. I am here for a reason. I'm setting the intention to have the best life of all time. No fear, no programs. We got this, heart and heart together, forever.
Love you, brother. Thank you so much.
I love you, brother.
Thank you so much.
It's my honor. It's my honor. So hug the family for me. Big kisses.
We'll do that.
I'll text you later and we'll talk about some cool protocols.
Big hug to Jamie. Love you, brother.
I love you. Bye.
Bye. Wow, guys, that was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Is I think last minute of our live. I want to thank everyone for being here. And look, it's just exciting times to be alive, to know the people like Shervin and to learn so much. I'm looking at some of your comments. Thank you. Nice haircut, Novak. Thank you so much. Stays Face 121. And let's see if we have any questions for me. I think we're going into last 1 or 2 minutes. So if you got any questions, I'm happy to answer now. But if we don't have time, I'll be happy to do it the next time. So thank you so much again, everyone, for being here, for supporting this live, for being patient, for being here, staying with us for an hour. I understand that you know, everyone has their views, and as Shervin said, pointed out at the end of the live, he said, this is our perception. We're just sharing, and we're doing this with utmost respect and love. And this is the main reason why I did this live today, and why I'm going to do once a week with Shervin. And of course, I'm going to be bringing also a lot of incredible people in as well, is because I would like to share the incredible knowledge and experience that these guys have. And I've been a great student of theirs. So hopefully you can, you know, also pick something that will be useful for you in your life. Thank you very much. Love you. Volim vas sve. Hvala što ste bili na današnjem live-u. Nadam se da ste uživali. Hvala vam puno.